Hi, you might know me as Foxy, official Foxy Music, or you might know me as someone who is a manipulator or user or someone who doesn't care about anyone but themselves. It's been eventful these past months. Um, Let me just start off by saying that the people who will be mentioned in this video, not by name, but if you ever find them, are not to be harassed, stalked, or doxxed, or anything bad happened to them. I don't wish anybody ill will. I just want to tell my story. We're gonna start fast forward to January of not this year, last year. Forgot it's 2024. I was in a VR chat world with a content creator named Timothy Shever, who I was getting close to at the time. And this individual was going to be stopping by, and I've idolized them for years. So they asked me if I wanted to meet them. I was like, yeah, sure. Well, we met each other and we hit it off, and so we started to become friends, and I helped him with some issues he was having, crying to me about some, personal stuff, and I helped him. No big deal. We bonded over like singing, and we played some games together, and we just got really, really close. Well, this person he was with, they broke up, and he was in a poly relationship, so he and I went to this virtual party together, and we hit it off. Danced with him. We went somewhere to a different world, and he asked me to be part of the polyamorous relationship. And, we seem to be hitting it off. Make it to summer, June, end of June, June 26th. I hopped on a flight at 6 in the morning from Edinburgh, Texas, all the way to another state where I met him IRL, and we seemed to be still hitting it off, getting along, and then things started to fall apart. I went through something at this job I worked at, which he happened to be employed there, and we were at this other place to get me a job there, so I did an application. And on the way back to his place, we got in a car accident. A deer hit the passenger side front, I think it's called headlight or taillight. It was the headlight. And I think the engine cap was busted or something. Fine, no injuries or nothing, but I fell into hysterics, and I told him over and over, I'm so sorry, if I could have sucked it up and continued working at this location, and this wouldn't have happened, and he was comforting me and being so sweet. And then that sweet side started to disappear. Started to be more distant, he would snuggle me and just be affectionate, and that all started to wither away slowly. So, piece of the story that needs to know is I suffer from borderline personality disorder. It's a neurological mental disorder. Don't have enough chemicals in the brain to function normally. So, for instance, emotions. You get 0 to 100. It's either 0 or 100. I don't have a middle scale. I have fear of abandonment. I trigger easily from anything that reminds me of my past that I went through. It sends me into hysterics. I'll go into a panic attack, or I'll shut down. So this car was not in use for a month. And so he fell into a depression, shut himself out, just didn't want to do nothing but be at his computer because he lost, I think, a few days of work or something. I tried to offer him to take whatever money I had in my pocket to put that towards his car, and he declined. I got SSI, which is, if anyone wants to know how much is it, it was $914 a month at the time, due to being labeled as a disabled person. But yeah, he declined. There's been things and narratives spun around that I just wanted to lengthen my vacation at this place I was at, and I didn't want to do anything for myself. But the thing is after that incident at the location where I worked at, I was looking for jobs. AMC, a resort, an office, even a fast food place. But none of them got back to me, so I was having trouble. Was so close to saving money that a friend and I, we were going to room together at a place that, accepted. That was the original plan. And so we looked at this townhome, and that got declined. I looked at apartments, but I didn't make enough. Or I was just a little bit off. And they decided to take money out of their own pocket and put it towards a motel. Made me feel absolutely fucking terrible. And in the beginning, before all of this, I was like, you don't have to do this, I don't want to become an issue, because I could sense it happening, because it's a thing that's happened throughout my life. It's like, no, I want to help you. I don't want you to be like this or this. I even stayed with a friend of theirs for a night. But throughout all of this, the demeanor and his behavior, it changed. Distant. His attitude, all things I found positive about him started to vanish, and I started to get this new perspective. I was trying to be positive about everything that was going on, and I get shut down, like, well, sometimes you just need to let us think about this bad stuff, or it was along the lines of that. I was being overly positive, and because I hate it when we have to think negative. And he just shut down before he was heading out. And I was like, I've seen what you've gone through. Like, I know. And then he had this creepy, oh, you have not seen what I went through. And just this demeanor reminded me of my past. I went through neglect for over 12 years of my life. My mom abandoned me, went through all this trauma, and so he was starting to remind me of that. And I was like, stepping back, because I had fear in my eyes, and I was like, you don't have to talk to me like that. You don't have to act like that. I was just trying to show you, that I'm there for you, and I have seen what you have gone through. And his fiance walks to the kitchen as he's walking out, because he's curious what's going on. I'm like, he just shut down on me. I was trying to be positive and tell him I know what he's went through, and he shut down on me. And it happened a few times. Another misconcepted thing was that I only cared about a water park. Well, fast forward, this was August 22nd, I think, or 20th, around that time. It was in August, end of August. I decided that I wanted to splurge a bit. This is on my part. And I wanted to take them to this theme park for one day thing. And they were on board with it. Didn't tell me, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I just thought everyone was so stressed out. Why don't I splurge a bit and we do a little vacay? Because I was looking into saving a bit, I got a cabin room which had wasps and, it wasn't really comfortable, but it was cheap. And it did not go the way I hoped, because that morning when I got off work and he came to pick me up and the fiance, world started coming crashing down. Um, he his perspective of things is that I went off because I wanted to go to the water park and we had to go fix his tire. That is not how it went. I was trying to be positive and everything, and all of a sudden he stopped at me and started to be very, just snappy is how I'll say it. And I started crying. I was like, why are you talking to me like that? Here I am talking to you positively and not even raising my voice, and you're talking to me like that? He called it a lash out, which that is not a lash out. It's not. It's me raising my voice, being stern, and according to him, it was a lash out. I was like, you should not be talking to me like that. I'm talking to you nicely, and you're disrespecting me. And then I put in my earbuds, I listened to this Rihanna song, and fast forward, we get to Walmart, and all of a sudden his boyfriend has to go. Has to go help a friend. I was like, okay, well, tell them that I hope their friend gets better. And as we're driving to this park, I told him, I was like, we really need to talk. I said, you cannot be talking to me the way you do. That is why I went off. I was like, do you want me to go? Because if you do, you can just say so. And I was like, no, I don't. I said, I really don't like when you talk to me like that. I'm just trying to be positive. I'm just trying to help. Yeah, I know you do, but this tire is on my mind right now. I said, I get that, but you didn't have to talk to me like that. And then we started talking about, there was an incident that happened the week before, where he was on virtual reality with his ex, who was his ex at the time. And they were talking in a NSFW manner, because he was saying, I was in the bathroom and I overheard, he's like, oh, I've been paying real close attention. Dear Twitter, sweetheart, I see everything. And then they started talking about AD, which is After Dark, which in terms, NSFW. And a fire was lit inside of me. Like, my heart felt like it was shattered. And I went out there and I had like a, what did I just hear? He looks at me, turns his chair and looks at me and he goes, what's wrong? I was like, did I just hear what I think I just heard? What do you mean? What's wrong, Foxy? I said, did I just hear what I think I just heard? He talks to his person, tells them they need to go, and he logs out of VR chat and puts the headset up. I said, did I just hear what I think I just heard? And I will admit, I started shaking. I went into a shaking fit and I had to hold my arms back because I was having a severe PTSD moment. He goes, I told you, I talked to all of my friends that way. Still holding back, I said, are you fucking kidding me? And I was still shaking. So I had to keep it right here. And I said, I have to restrain myself right now. I'm trying so hard. And I was crying. I had like sadness, anger, and I was a mess. I calmed down after a few minutes, not thinking of it, and I sit down. He looks at me and he goes into his other voice and goes, "Be glad that you didn't do that." I looked at him with a blank stare with tears down my face. I said, "I would never hurt you. I don't want to, because I never want to hurt someone. If I hurt someone, it's out of self-defense and just self-defense." He said, "I know, but just be lucky you didn't." I said, "I would never do that. I didn't want to." And then I went to bed. Well, I started to see these posts of this individual pop up on my phone, because when you are mutual with someone, you see what they repost, what they like. I started seeing more, and for his birthday, we were watching Evil Dead, the old remake, and then Evil Dead Rise. During that movie, during Evil Dead Rise's the beginning, I opened my phone and I saw it. And I shut down because he told me that he wouldn't be doing stuff like that anymore. And so I said, I need to go, and silently took a long shower, put an outfit on, went back out there until I couldn't hold it back anymore, and I decided to ask him, "Are you in talks with this individual still?" "I thought we already talked about this. Foxy, I thought we already went over this." "I'm sorry, we did." And then I faced away from him and I watched the movie. It bugged him throughout that night, and me not wanting to be abandoned, me not wanting him to leave me. I said I'm sorry, and I blamed myself, and I said I just don't want to be abandoned. I just don't want this occurrence with you happen like it did with my ex, because I was still suffering from the things I went through with my ex at the time. I will say that he has gotten better and he is fixing himself. On a good note, do you really think I'm this individual? I was like, no, I don't. I'm just saying, like, I snap because the things that you're doing, it gives me flashbacks of what that individual did to me. And he just sat there. It was like a frozen stare. And I tried to hold his hand. I even hugged him. And then that's when I just felt like I didn't belong anymore. Then everything fully went dark. I always tried to be a positive individual around people. I always try to be the light of the room, and sadly, it's not that way a lot. But the fact is none of that is my problem. It's after he broke up with me, and I remember before I left him, I wasn't aware that he was going to break up with me and everything else, and that night at the airport, I kissed him goodbye, and I said, "I'll see you again. This isn't over. This is just an intermission." They both said "love you" to me because I got warmed up to the fiance, and then only 2 days after I left, I got a text, and he told me he needed to talk to me the night before. So I will highlight is there was a night in those 2 days that I did have panic because of all of this, and I was blowing up his phone. I was like, are you okay? What's going on? And do you still love me? Did I do something wrong? Am I doing this right? Um, and he just said, we need to talk. And over procrastinating in my head with all these thoughts, I was like, what's going on? What did I do? What did I do? Are you gonna leave? Are you gonna leave? And I completely crashed. Not now, talk tomorrow was his last words. Then I checked on him the last day that I ever talked to him, and all of these misconceptions came to be. Something about I was disrespecting his roommates and co-workers and his friends and his fiance. The fiance I never really had a problem with. I thought he was really cool. There were some instances at work where I had a problem with a coworker and he tried to get me to spill it out, but I wanted to focus on work, and that was the only time I pretty much had an issue. And I don't think he really liked that I was into horror, because when we went to this park, there were woods, and I made a joke like, "Oh, this reminds me of Wrong Turn," and then there was like the mountains. I was like, "Oh, definitely Hills of Eyes, Wrong Turn," and I don't think he really liked that. But that day, that fiance of his supposedly ran away because I lashed out and he didn't want to be in the car with me. That's how pissed he was, and I was like, "What? That wasn't me lashing out. That was me talking to you in a stern voice and telling you that you cannot talk to me that way." And then basically he told me that his fiance didn't feel comfortable with me, and that for me to make his fiance feel that bad was disrespectful. And there was a thing with the roommates, which I will take responsibility for. During the meantime of dealing with, all this and everything, I like to make music, and he allowed me to use his desktop where I made songs. There were a few occurrences where the roommates were sleeping and I was making music, and I was being too loud. The few times I did stop, but on the last night, I guess, was the last time because anxiety was reeling and I just wanted to make something, and me not having any idea they were in the room trying to sleep, I did that, and they sent a text to this group chat they had, and I will admit that's a flaw I had. But during that period of being with him, it felt like I was part of a family. A new family. People who understood me, that related. And, well, after this and all of the accusations and perspectives came out, I got harassed by all these people. One called me a psychopath who was a content creator. And another person who was another person with BPD, I tried explaining everything to them. They're like, "Oh no, you're making it about you. You're making it about you." They were upset because they were trying to teach me how to train my voice, and I wasn't opening to it at the time because I wasn't that close with him. And he's like, "Oh, you're making this about you. You're making this about you." And then told me never to talk to him again, and that if I brought all this up, that I would be brought to legal action, and that was that. And then there was this other person in October of 2023 who replied to his tweets and said, "You need a shovel? I'll get you one." So, all of these people, false narratives of me, I've lost friends, it's messed with me mentally, trying to silence me. Supposedly my old boss who I worked with was trying to get a hold of me and sue me. All of these conceptions, and all because I said that a employee did something to me that is labeled as neglect. And then after I left that town, it was spun around that, oh, I took it, or I over what's it called? Somewhere you make it a big thing when it's not, but it was a big thing because I went through abuse and neglect, and that is a thing of neglect. If you are going to shock my hand on a electric thing on the highest setting and not expect me to say anything when I told you to not do it, and I tried pulling my hand away and you grab my hand and still do it, that is neglect. That is absolutely neglect. And that is pretty much where all this went. To making up stories, narratives, perspectives of what happened, and not letting me say anything because I was threatened. Even though I said I don't wish you all harm at all. I hope you and this person you're with now, which is their ex, does well. Well, I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of holding this stuff inside because it's fucked me up mentally, and here we are. I don't understand why I didn't just disappear. When all this started, I just had a sense of believing because he made me feel that I was part of a family and these people welcomed me. I didn't expect any of this to turn out like this, really. And it did. So, lesson of the day, don't date your role models. Don't date those you idolize, because it's not going to end well. And that's pretty much all I can say right now. Another thing that I will show, improve. Let's see if it's all here. His friend got a hold of me. It was October 22nd of 2023. I don't know if you guys can see that. Trying to cover the name. October 22nd of 2023. I don't know if I could find the messages, but yeah, the messages got all wiped out. So, sorry, I'm just going through these messages. Let's see here. Yeah, it was February 24th. That this all started, and it was October 26th that all of this ended. But throughout all of that, drama has been brought to my attention. I lost friends, got threats, and my message is I'm not a bad person, but I really just wish people would ask me questions instead of saying all of this stuff about me, because you clearly have no sense of direction of where all this came from, when, where, why. You just assumed and you told all of these people, and the cherry on the pie is I was told that I was basically a charity case. I was dated because I almost got diagnosed with lung cancer because May of last year I had to go to the hospital in Edinburgh, Texas, and I had been bedridden for a few days. 2 or 3 days, I think. Because my body was not functioning, I was weak, and I had a blood infection, they said. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't walk on my own, I had to be in a wheelchair at the hospital. I just was nearly dead, and while I am grateful that he was there by my side for all of that, being on call with me throughout all of it, it's just really sick that this narrative came up and he hasn't said or denied it. Last time I talked to him, when I finally just had this final word to say, and I'll read it to you guys. I said, I don't know what to say to you, but for you to lie to me for 6 months, guess what I found out? Blank told people that you and blank dated me because I almost had cancer. If that was really the real reason you got with me, I'm so disappointed in you. Congrats on being back with blank. As I told you, I knew this wouldn't last, but you insisted. I have no hatred in my heart for you, blank. But you could have broke up with me if you missed blank so much. I wouldn't have stopped you, but I felt the signs as time went on. I called you on it and you still lied to me. I won't forget our time together, but you made me feel like a charity case. And the guy I saw in the videos, in the TikToks, isn't that person. I never want to see you guys again. I feel like a complete idiot and a fool to have given you my heart. I hope you three stay happy forever. Farewell, blank. His reply, that makes 2 of us then. Both me and blank agree you've had so many issues that you kept pushing them on us, and you are the one who ruined our relationship. Rewind. Whenever there was an issue, they want me to bring it to their attention. The neglect at work. My mental health. Even though I tell them, I really don't want you guys to get involved because there's going to be problems, and I don't want you guys to have any. We both gave you our trust and love, and your actions and disrespect between us, our roommates, and our coworkers is more unforgivable than anything we did to you. Coworkers. The person who decided to neglect me was also very rude and hard to work with, but I put that aside and I tried getting along. Only person I ever had a problem with. Roommates. Again, the music issue was the only thing that was my fault, and I'm sorry for that. I should have picked a different outlet. And finally, the icing on the cake. You two. I've always tried to be respectful and kind and good hearted. Did things for your birthday, made dinner, made meals, try to put all this stuff together, and yet I was disrespectful? Thanks. Really, thanks. Um, You took advantage of our hospitality, our kindness, and made it all about you as we tried to help you to see things from our point of view, but you couldn't even do that. Actually, your point of view, I got it completely. You wanted me to save. You wanted me to look for these things. I did so much to try to meet your expectations. You wanted me to treat you like you were a friend, not a lover. I'm sorry, but that's not how I work, and I told you that. Let's go back to the car. I told you that that wasn't the reason I was upset. Okay, we break up, you put that in the mix, and tell everyone that I was being manipulative and all I wanted to do was go to the park. There was something that happened at the park. He brought up the idea that I need to come back to my hometown, which is here where I'm at. I voiced to him that it made me feel suicidal because of my past, and I did not want to go back. Then I decided to walk out and go on a walk because I just felt depressed. After all of that, I voiced to him that I wanted him to stay because he voiced that he was going to go, and I knew the real reason why. I could read people, and I felt like shit. I begged him to not go, please. I started crying, and I'm sorry that I felt that way, but really, I shouldn't have apologized for feeling that way because I was coming back to this place where all of this trauma, all of this PTSD would collide back in my head like two drums or whatever it's called, cymbals or something. And you have the nerve to tell me that I took advantage of you? I told you that you did not have to do all of this for me. It made me feel like shit. I did not want you to get included in my drama, my mental shit, but you told me to bring it to you anyway. You told me that I could trust you and you wanted me to open up to you to make it work. And so I did. The after result, as I warned you, you left. And sent me back here. Which, I understand why. We had no other choice. I was running out of options. Things were just rough. So you sent me on my way. But, the things you told people, really, thanks. Moving on. Everyone already knows what you did to us, and we have no reason to lie. Which is why I lost friends, lost people, because you decided to tell all of these big people that were close to me that I met through you, which it was fine, all of these horrid things. You decided to tell them all these things that I'm not. You decided to put things in your recollection, which was how it went in your head, when that was not the real truth, and then you slander me for it. After I tell people to stop harassing me in Telegram or I will get a restraining order, you decide to go on blast on Twitter with your perspective of things, but not the truth. The only person who will know the full truth might be me. And because of you, I lost friends. I've been outcasted and exiled. What more? But I'm not gonna let anybody put me in a corner because you don't want to hear it. Moving on. Everything was fine for a while till you made things bad for all of us and gave zero fucks about it. Again, what I just said. You told me to open up to you. You told me to tell you what was wrong. I didn't want to. I told you that it's not a good idea. You need to just not ask. You still did. You still did. And I told you that wasn't a good idea. I told you that you need to just stop trying to get me to open up to you about everything. But I didn't give a fuck about anyone but myself. Another thing, you told people that you gave me money to buy you a birthday gift. Wrongo, honey. I used my paycheck, a little amount of it, to get you the music box. And the cards that I got you. The movie, the groceries that I got for that dinner. But it's fine, because I don't care about no one but myself. That's completely fine, really. It's not the first time I've actually heard those words before. Again, there's a reason why I shut down, because PTSD comes to the present and reflects in my brain. But I didn't care. Do yourself a favor and don't ever contact us again. Oh, also, at least Blank is more of an adult than you ever will, because he's nice enough to talk things out and work things out, including himself. Okay. So, you want to say that they can talk things out and be more of an adult than me? That's completely fine. But here's the newsflash. Who was going off on you in that room when I entered and I stuck up for you? I told him you are not going to disrespect them like that. You are not going to talk to them about that. And I pretty much almost got my ass beat because of it. Me. But he was yelling. He was screaming. I tried to talk things out with you. I tried to open up with you, and you made me feel like a piece of garbage over it. Oh, I guess I'll delete Twitter since I can't be myself. I'm just trying to be myself. You can be yourself without all that negative shit. Without the NSFW stuff that I requested that you not do because I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. But you still continued anyway. I tried talking about it a few more times. And then I snapped at your ex in virtual reality. But they're much more of an adult, right? That's completely fine. You also say that was clingy. Well, that's part of my illness, for one. I was clinging to you because it was something good that I've never had before. And as time went on, I stopped being that clingy. You said that you had to put all of your time aside to come and coddle me. I didn't ask you to do that. You did that yourself. And because of a certain message between you and someone calling you daddy in Discord that I saw, that caused me to go and almost pass out. And then I started going into a shaking fit. Because my ex did that. But you know what's funny? You don't see things how they should be. You lied to me. You made me feel like shit. Even though I tried to help you, you made me feel like shit. You did things for me, but still made me feel like a piece of garbage. And then you tell all of these people that I'm a bad individual. I'm manipulative. I'm psychotic. What other words? That I almost got you evicted. Have been that way, I would have left. But from what I know, You didn't have to do all that. But that was something I did not want you to do for me, and you still did. At the end of the day, you turned into a blaming war on me. It's really not my problem anymore. I had to come on here and tell my side of things and just be honest, because I was forced to be afraid to not say anything about all this because of the threats. And I'm done listening to all of that. I am so done letting someone push me in a corner. So, to those who see this, thank you for listening or viewing. I'm sorry for the almost hour rant and telling everything. But thank you so much. And if you see this, you could have talked to me about it. You could have called, you could have texted, you could have unblocked me, and we could have had a conversation. But, of course, you didn't. And your friends tried forcing me into hiding to not say anything. And I'm done. I'm done just trying to be afraid of everything. And I actually feel good saying all this because it's the truth. But I do wish you luck on your endeavors. Congratulations on everything you have going for you. But respectfully, it's something that shouldn't have ever happened. I'm in a better place now. I look better now. What can only kill you makes you stronger. And I felt dead for a while, but I'm strong now. And yeah, to those who view this, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Again, no one harms the individuals if they ever find out who they are. Don't dox them, don't stalk them, do not harass them. None of that is needed. So yeah, thank you all so much for viewing. Bye.